Okay, it's been a long week for me. How are you?
Hi.
I've got Miss Erika here. She is known as the Queen of Halloween. I did a Facebook shout out and I said, "Who is the Queen of Halloween?" And your Betty was like, "Hey, you need to talk to this girl right here." And I was like, "Amazing." And so, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And
Thank
cheers.
you.
It's Friday. Cheers.
Here's your Friday.
So what are you drinking?
Moscato Stella. Stella is always the choice.
Moscato. Okay, so I am drinking this nice, pretty bottle. As you can see, my background's a little muddy and the lighting's not so great. I'm in this hotel room. I'm not going to name names as to what brand this is, but this is probably the oldest hotel I've ever been in. It hasn't been upgraded in probably like, I don't know, a millennium. And I ordered this downstairs because they don't have a bar; they have a restaurant. And I was like, I need my wine for my sipping with Sue time. And so she's like, well, I can open up the bottle. You can't bring the glass upstairs to your room. I'm sorry, but I can open up the bottle for you. You can drink a little bit here, and then you can have the bottle. I was like, $17, La Marca. So hey, you guys, cheers to the weekend.
Cheers to
Woo!
the weekend.
There's no shame in my game.
Like, oh
I'm
well.
good. I'm good. So we've got Ericka Gonzalez here, who is known as the Queen of Halloween. Tell us a little bit about you, about your background, so we can get our folks acquainted with you.
So let's see. I didn't grow up in San Antonio, but I say I'm from San Antonio because I graduated high school here. I am a registered nurse by day. Um,
Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. So I help first time moms while they're pregnant and I stay with them until babies turn 2. So it's a really,
Okay.
really great job. Pandemic has changed it though. We do a lot of telehealth now. And I have 3 boys, 21, 15, 13, and I'm happily married to Richard Gonzalez. So that's my background pretty much. And like, but my horror background started when I was really little because of my father. Um,
Okay.
I never was a child that was actually afraid of horror movies, which is interesting. Like, I never was one that had nightmares about Freddy or anything because my parents were the couple that would dress up and go to the costume parties, like at the clubs and stuff. But he would also, make up himself. So he always explained the background of horror movies, like it's
Mm-hmm.
all makeup and his imagination and it's a story. So I would never
Mm-hmm.
be afraid whenever he's doing his own costumes as well. So when we would watch horror movies, it was more of, I guess, a fan of, wow, how did they do that? Like the
Yeah.
special effects, how did they make the
Mm-hmm.
makeup? And so I was never afraid. Like it just took the fear away, because I realized they were actors and it's just a story. But
Gotcha.
I became a big fan of it though. And
Mm-hmm.
like, so when I would go to my dad, my parents, I would go to my dad in the summers and it was like obviously I'm gonna tell my age now. Uh, Blockbuster night Fridays, Blockbuster night Fridays. Obviously straight to the horror section. And I remember I was so
That's
excited when he
crazy.
finally let me see The Exorcist because he wouldn't for a while, but yeah.
That gave me nightmares forever. Amityville Horrors. And so my mom, so I wish, I had a little bit of that. What I had was what is it? Psycho,
Oh, okay.
right? Norman Bates. Okay.
Mhm.
It was in the theater. And my mom
Ooh,
was like, oh, well, I have no one to go with. So I'm going to take my little daughter. Scarred for
wow.
life. Scarred for life.
You know
Poltergeist, Freddy. She's the queen of horror. I wouldn't say queen of Halloween. She's the queen of horror.
horror,
And she just,
yeah.
if it's bloodier and the more blood and guts,
Gory.
the more I like it. And I'm like, you're weird. You're weird.
Yes, I'm like, Hellraiser, yeah.
That's my mom. And so so yes. Too funny, too funny. So Halloween is Sunday, which is
Yes.
super exciting for a lot of people. It's just fun. And so, what is it about this holiday that has drawn you to it, as far as like outside of the horror piece of it,
Mhm.
and the horror movies and the makeup and stuff? Specifically, what has drawn Halloween to you?
Well, I like the fact that I don't know when we think of Halloween, some people think of really, I mean, scary things and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
sadly, I know this is kind of a little ironic. I always Scooby Doo, the scary people were actually the people, right? They unmasked them. And
Mhm.
so Halloween was kind of a way where like you could be whoever you wanted, and no
Mhm.
matter who you were, no one's going to judge you. So it was almost like a judgment free day,
Mhm.
regardless of how old you were, how young you were, how tall you were, how short you were.
Mhm.
You could be whatever you wanted to be. So I love the dressing up part, and the scary part because I do love horror. Um, but and it's not a mandated holiday for families. I mean, I love my family and all, but
Mhm.
sometimes holidays can be stressful.
Mhm.
So it's something
Indeed.
you usually always enjoy with your friends, and my friends are my family. So that's
Mhm.
like something I always have like wonderful memories, like hanging out with my friends on Halloween or going out trick or treating and stuff. And it was funny. I was thinking the other day, like, I don't think there's been a Halloween that I don't dress up because when I was younger, I had smaller brothers. So even when
Mhm.
I got to that age where I guess I wouldn't be per se like the right age to be trick or treating, I had my brothers,
Mhm.
so I would take them. So
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, I can still dress up. And then when I finally moved out of the house, I had friends who had kids. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm gonna dress up with them. And then by the time I knew I
Yeah.
had my own children, so I think I can only remember like one Halloween day that I did not dress up, and I think I was really sad. Yeah.
Aw, and so we've got Jane on the line, and she's like, "I love your makeup." So tell us a little bit about what went into making your Sally. This is
Oh my god.
Sally.
This is Sally, yes.
I'm a Nightmare Before Christmas freak.
Yes,
I
me too.
love
So
Jack.
we did trunk or treat for our patients yesterday, so I had to be something not too scary, but I'm like,
Gotcha.
well, she's a little scary, but still kids like her. So that's always
Gotcha.
difficult for me to keep it toned down for my patients.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But that was our trunk or treat theme yesterday. So I use wolf makeup, and it's like a blue, and literally I use like eyeliner just to do the stuff and my lipstick. That was it.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
And then you get so it looks
Like a
like a pretty legit costume too, because sometimes you can get the costumes. So
yes.
I'm like I love Disney, of course. And
Yes,
so
exactly.
I'm always like I was like, oh, what Disney person should I be? And of course I'm a Pocahontas. And so trying to find a Pocahontas outfit that's legit, that doesn't look
Mhm.
cheap and that kind of stuff. Where do you
Yes.
go shop for what you have on here?
Oh, this was from Spirit. Spirit usually has it's pricey, but it's legit,
Uh-huh.
and they usually last a couple of years. So that's how come I'm like, okay,
Okay.
I'll go there. Yeah, but it even came with the wig with the costume. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so they
And it
usually
looks
have really
great.
good stuff. And a couple of years ago, I used to be a body canvas for an artist named Abril, and she actually had done me a Sally before. But when you're a body canvas, you're just in a bra and underwear, and so she
Hmm.
painted the dress on my whole body, and it came out really amazing. So I knew, like, okay, I was like, I've been Sally before, so let me just get the stuff, and I'll see if I can
Uh-huh.
do the makeup myself. And but I was
Okay.
pretty. Yep, so
So
I
that was
figured
the first time you did it. So we'll have to see
yeah,
this. I mean, you'll have to, after this is done, you'll have to put that in the thread, some of your like costumes and the
absolutely,
pictures. Yeah, for
absolutely,
sure.
yes,
For sure.
yes.
So what makes you the queen of Halloween?
Well, when she shot me out, my friend Shirley Ann, we actually worked
Yes.
body canvases together for like
Hmm.
Comic Cons and stuff, which was hilarious because most of the body canvas want to be somebody pretty, right? They're like, I want to be Wonder Woman, or and I want to be, and I was always the badass.
You're like, tear it up, whatever.
Yeah, so she made me this wonderful artist. Her name is Abrin. She made me into the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. She made me into Freddy Krueger. She made me into
Nice.
the one you have on the picture. She did all that painting. She
So
did
cool.
the jigsaw little puppet.
Hmm.
She would bring the horror in 'cause she loved horror, and I was good with it. I'm like, heck yeah, make me scary. I don't care, So our little bond was just there because we both loved horror so much that I didn't
Hmm.
care. Yeah, go ahead and put the evil goblin ears. I'm fine. She even made me like Mystique, like just different
Hmm.
Comic Cons, whatever. Obviously, it was her art that was being portrayed in
Mhm.
the Comic Cons, but
Mhm.
she would send it out to me and she'd be like, "So what do you think? Is this too much?" I'm like, "No, let's do it." Because I was
So you're
scarier.
you're an easy blank canvas then.
Yes. Yes, I wasn't like, "Make me look pretty." I was like, "Make me look scary."
Yeah. So I guess that leads up to my next question. So you like the fright and spookiness of Halloween or the dressing up part? Or maybe is it a combination of
It's a
both?
combination because I
Mhm.
love the scary part, the fright and the scary part, but I don't get scared, but I guess I love everybody's reactions. Like I said, I don't really have the fear, but everybody else's fear, I don't
Mhm.
know, it's just funny. And
So what's the scariest like I guess reaction that you've had and what was the costume that you had that's reaction from?
I think when she did me as Freddy Krueger, it was pretty freaky,
Yeah.
because it wasn't like latex or anything. She literally painted me to make me look like that. And I was just like, whoa. Yeah, she did a really good job. And everybody was kind of like, whoa, Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what sort of things do you do in preparation of Halloween? Or for your different, Comic-Con or different excursions where you're going to go out there and you're going to be like
Yeah. So, my husband, he used to always do cosplay, so we kind of like really fell in love with that part of each other. And so he actually brought me into that. Like he used to do it before, and then I was like, "Oh, that's cosplay." Like I didn't really know about it, And
okay.
so we would kind of do things together. So whenever she made me like green, like the Green Goblin, he was Spider-Man, we would kind of do
Mhm.
the couple thing. But so normally if we would do, obviously because of pandemic things have slowed down, but when we did
Mhm.
do Comic Cons, we would kind of try to plan out, and we usually try to add our own little flair to it, make stuff, DIY stuff. He's really great at
Mhm.
craft stuff. And so but together we're both pretty crafty, so to try to make up things, so it usually takes I would just say a couple of months just trying to figure out what material you're going to use and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But like at home here, I start decorating on August 1st. Yes, August 1st. And I'm like, okay, August 1st. The next major holiday is Halloween. So
Yes, I'm in the clear.
as soon as you start seeing Halloween stuff in the stores, I'm like already bringing it out. My husband's like, "Really, Erica? Really?" I'm like, "Yes, yes." Because if I wait, it's only like till October. That's only 31 days. That's not enough time for it to just be there. I was like,
So
"No."
what do you do? So what do you do to your house? Like how
Um,
do you like what do
So
you do
right
with your house?
now, like behind my couch, I have little bats all on the wall.
Mhm.
I have like the bloody steps coming in the entryway. I have, let's see, in the front, we have Pennywise on the door, and we have
Mhm.
like one of those blow up evil clowns in the front of the
Mhm.
house. We've only been here for a year. It's our new home. Actually, it was just our anniversary of our home. So I kept telling
Congratulations.
thank you. So, like, I came from an apartment, so I really didn't have a lot of storage, so now I'm all
Mhm.
excited because 'cause I'm like, "I wanna buy all this Halloween stuff." And so I'm like, "Oh my god, I can buy a big blow up thing now," and
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
like yeah, so eventually, I guess my ultimate goal would be that to be because 'cause we're in a cul-de-sac, to be like that spooky haunted house everybody looks forward to every year.
Sweet. Okay. Well, again, lots of photos and stuff. We're going to go ahead and check this out after this, and you can put it in the thread so we can check out and we'll do drive-bys. We'll be like, what's up? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, so eventually
That's
I'll get
so
there.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. So, what is the most time that you've spent on creating a costume, and then what were you?
Um See, so typically, let's see, I'd say Comic Cons was more like being the body canvas. So she would do
Hmm.
all the creating. I would just kind of show up and she would tell me some things I needed to get. But as for myself, I think I did Maleficent one year for a trunk or treat. And
Okay.
so my husband, Mr. Crafty, helped me make like the little the little staff, with her little ball, and then he
Mhm.
helped me make the wings kind of like hers, trying to figure out do stuff like this. So it took a couple of weeks. I want to say a couple of weeks to do it, but just trying to figure out what we're gonna use, kind of troubleshooting things like that.
But it was all DIY, right? It wasn't
No,
something you
no. So
bought.
I did buy the dress,
Okay.
and then just
Okay.
like usually the sex accessories is what kind of like what we add to it because, well, try to make it look more realistic.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So
Yeah.
have you been in any like costume contests or anything like that you've won?
I actually haven't. I haven't, yes. And I guess because I don't really, I mean, I have kids, so I've never been the person to just go out to the clubs or anything where they normally do that,
Gotcha.
Uh,
Gotcha.
Mom life, is usually about the kids.
But you said they're grown. I think you said they're
They're
grown.
grown now. They're just finally 13, 15, and 21. So who knows? Maybe in the future, right?
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Awesome. So I think that's all I have. Do you have anything else to add about your costumes, your, Halloween, the house decorating, anything that you want to tell anybody about you being the queen of Halloween?
Let's see. Just enjoy Halloween, people, because it only comes once a year. So I'll be counting down again.
Yeah, on August 1st.
Counting down to August 1st.
That's so awesome. Well, thank you again. And so, with all my guests, and thank you for coming on with all my guests, I always like to do a speed round just for fun. And
Okay.
so, we have a speed round of questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Tricks or treats?
Tricks.
Okay. So, what kind of tricks you pulling?
I love to do pranks on the kids. It's always fun to get back at them.
Like how?
Well, just doing random things like, just be like, so, hey, it's just always because they're boys. So they typically will just give you smack, So I like
Mhm.
to do things to kind of catch them off guard. And they're like, Mom, because, ladies are always expected to be ladylike, So I don't know. I just,
Really? I don't. Really?
yeah, back in the day they were, and now they're like, "Oh my god, Mom, I can't believe you said that." I guess it's usually my attitude, just being
Yeah.
more like them, and I'm just like, they're like, "Mom," and I'm like, "What?" Just,
That's
this
just
is
me.
who
I'm
I am.
sorry. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
that's
I
just
think
who
that
I
maybe
am.
because you said you're a mom of all boys, right?
All boys,
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's because you're a boy mom. Because I'm a
Ah,
boy mom too. I have my one son, and I did
okay.
scare the crap out of him one time. He was little, and
Uh-huh.
I had a big old Venetian like a cloak with the big
Uh-huh.
old like hooded cloak, all black velvet, very thick, gorgeous. And then I had a full face Carnivale Venetian mask. And so I stood around the corner and he's like, did do, and I was like, ah,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah, now that they're
It
older,
was
it's not as
priceless.
easy. Yes, but
Yeah,
when
it
they
was
were
priceless
little,
though. Yeah.
I bet. To get the boys, especially when they're little, they have like, ah, the little screech, and
Yes.
it's like, oh my God.
It was the
Yeah.
best. He was so pissed off at me, but yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's always hard to
It
get
was
the
good
boys
stuff.
back. They can always get you, but it's like trying to
I
keep
know.
getting
I
them
know.
back.
Yeah.
Like,
When they
hmm.
get older, it's like,
Yeah, you really have to think. Yeah.
yeah, you have to be creative on that.
You have to
Okay,
be more
so
creative.
Elvira or Morticia?
Morticia. Just because her
Morticia.
and Gomez love, it's always like very like ooh la la.
It's cute. It's cute.
Yes, it's
It's
really
sassy.
cute.
All right. So weirdest pumpkin carving that you've ever seen?
Weirdest?
Hmm.
I guess I'm not well, I guess I could say the one we just recently did, which was actually a friend's first time. And he was
Hmm.
trying to do a Spider-Man. It was like a spider web with a spider, but the spider ended up kind of being a little abstract. Everybody's like, but it was his first time, but that's okay. We're like, you've never carved pumpkin? He's like, no. And so then we were laughing because one of my friend's daughters picked the stencil that was probably a lot more difficult for him to do. We're like, and my other friend was like, just give them the triangles. Like, just stick
Yeah,
to
because
the basics. They're like,
yeah,
let
because
me try.
honestly, as yeah, because a spider web's kind of intricate
I
detail. So
know.
that's like
Yeah, he did good on the spider web, but the spider we're like, a little wonky, but we're like, it's okay. Everybody's like, "What do you see?" Or everybody's like, "A buffalo or a dog." Yes, it was really hilarious, but we're like, "It's okay. It's okay.
That's
You'll do
so
better next
funny.
year."
That's so funny. Okay, so I always like to do, so I'm not crazy about like horror flicks. Like I said before, I've been
Yeah.
scarred by my mother. And so yes, seriously. So I'm more into like The Fright Night or The Lost Boys,
Okay,
Nightmare Before
okay.
Christmas, or Sleepy Hollow. Like I like those kinds of things. However,
More
comma,
suspense.
scariest Halloween movie for you of all time.
I would have to say, scary ones for me are more of like the paranormal, like Amityville, stuff like that. Just for the fact that sometimes I'm like, some people have those ghost stories, so it's like it
Yeah.
could be
That you're
true.
like chills.
It's
Woo.
yes, it's like, because obviously the other stuff I'm like, it's just makeup, people pretending, so I guess it's
Mhm.
more of the stuff that's about paranormal, like Annabelle or something demon possessed, because I'm like, oh my God, what if it really can happen?
Like The Exorcist, like we were
Yes,
talking earlier
like
about.
The Exorcist, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Erica, for being on. And of course, happy Halloween to everybody out there. Don't forget, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to tune in next week. Have a happy Halloween. Thank you so much, Erica. You guys have
You're
a great
welcome.
weekend. Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye. We'll see you next week.